Do you pray for the work of the gospel and support it with your material resources? My dear brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ, in today's gospel, Jesus continues his instruction to his disciples. He tells them that they should proclaim this message: the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Jesus empowers the disciples to cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, and drive out demons. Jesus then instructs his disciples to travel lightly. They are not to take any money, extra clothing, or sandals with them. Jesus calls them to trust in the generosity of the people they will be serving. They are to trust and believe that what they need will be provided for them. I wonder if the disciples were amazed, surprised, or anxious when they heard Jesus' instructions. After all, shouldn't they take something along for their journey just in case? If we are disciples of Jesus today, He also empowers us with the ability to cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, and drive out demons. Now take a moment and ask yourself, how can I help someone who is struggling? What can I do to share joy, hope, and comfort with the individuals I encounter today? Jesus gives us abundantly each day, and He calls us to share the gifts and graces we receive with the people in our lives and in our world. Typically, the gifts and graces we have to share often seem insignificant to us. Lending a helping hand, visiting with someone who is lonely, or simply smiling at an individual you pass in the grocery store. Be alert. Today you may be presented with the perfect opportunity to share your abundance. Be generous with your smile, laughter, love, and attention. Truly, there are no greater gifts. Jesus said to His disciples, "Freely you have received, freely you give." What they had received from Jesus, they must pass it on to others without expecting any remuneration. They must show by their attitude that their first interest is God, not material gain. They must serve without guile, full of charity and peace and simplicity. They must give their full attention to the proclamation of God's kingdom and not to be diverted by other lesser things. They must travel light, only take what was essential and leave behind whatever would distract them, in order to concentrate on the task of speaking the word of the Lord. They must do their work not for what they can get out of it, but for what they can give freely to others, without expecting special privileges or reward. Poverty of spirit frees us from greed and preoccupation with the possessions and makes ample room for God's provision. The Lord wants His disciples to be dependent on Him and not on themselves. Secondly, Jesus said the worker deserves his sustenance. Here we see a double truth. The worker of God must not be overly concerned with material things, but the people of God must never fail in their duty to give the worker of God what he needs to sustain himself. Do you pray for the work of the gospel and support it with your material resources? Jesus ends his instruction with a warning. If people reject God's invitation and refuse His word, that they bring condemnation on themselves. When God gives us His word, there comes with it the great responsibility to respond. Indifference will not do. We are either for or against God in how we respond to His word. God gives us His word that we may have life in Him. He wills to work through and in each of us for His glory. God shares the word with us and He commissions us to speak it boldly and simply to others. Amen.